at the end of the day, the better team won. The Tigers dropped 2 of 3 to the Philadelphia Phillies. We'll talk about that and so much more all today on Locked On Tigers.
You are Locked On Tigers, your daily Detroit Tigers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Tigers. I'm, of course, your host, Scott Bentley. Today is Thursday, June 27th, 2024. Thank you so much for making Locked On Tigers your first listen. Every single day, we are free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode of Locked On Tigers is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even your rivals. Check out Booking.com for your stay today. Welcome in, welcome all. Happy Thursday to everybody. The weekend is right around the corner, and the Detroit Tigers will play a 4-game set starting today, as you're listening to this, against the Angels. But first, we got to talk about the previous series. I don't know, that was a weird transition there. I was trying to think of another way to describe the series, and the series came out. So there you go. The Tigers dropped 2 of 3 at the hands of the Philadelphia Phillies at home, losing the rubber match on Wednesday by a score of 6-2. Keider Montero pitched a majority of the game. They did use an opener. They used kind of 2 openers, the Tigers did. Tyler Holton pitched, Will Vest pitched, and then you saw Keider Montero. So we'll talk about him. We'll talk about what I saw from him, what we all saw from him, really. But this is a ball game that just really didn't surprise me either. And I said that after game 1. And game 1 was a little bit less competitive. This one, I mean, this was a tie game going into the 4th inning, right? And I guess that kind of sounds ridiculous to say out loud, but it was a still, I mean, you lost by 4, you didn't lose by 7, right? Like you still were within a swing in theory. And it just, yeah, like I feel like I'm trying to work through my feelings here. Okay. I work on this in therapy. I feel like I should be a lot more upset with this loss, right? The offense was pretty putrid yet again. The Phillies did a lot of small stuff that I just loved, that they did really, really well, and things that I haven't seen a Tigers team do in a very, very long time. They just looked so much more professional, I think is really the word I'm going to use to describe them than the Detroit Tigers did. But I'm just not upset. Like this is just what both of these teams are. A great team outdueled a not very good team with a young starting pitcher on the mound. Like the writing was on the wall. I would have been pretty surprised if they took 2 of 3 from the Phillies. That would have been a shock to me. And we were not shocked. What we expected, what's the quote? We are who we thought they were, right? That's just kind of how I feel. So like what went wrong in this ball game? Again, the offense. The Tigers scored on the first AB of the game in Matt Vierling with a leadoff homer. We'll talk about him on the side of things of what went right. But then you didn't score again until like garbage time at the very end of the game. You scored in the 1st and 9th innings in this ball game. The offense, I thought, completely rolled over, to be completely honest with you. I thought these were wildly uncompetitive at bats, which is just so mind-boggling. Less than 24 hours removed from putting together what I thought were honestly really solid at bats against one of the best starting pitchers in baseball. And look, the Phillies have a heck of a rotation. They have a crazy 3-headed monster there at the top. And then even their 4 and 5, and like Turnbull has had a good year this year. He's been pitching out of the pen for them because their rotation has been so solid. So like that's not a knock on Ranger Suarez or anybody in that bullpen really at all. It's just I'm blown away by how different this team has the ability to look on a game-to-game basis, right? And we talked about it going into the year, and it's something that the front office talked about going into the year, right? Scott Harris was very vocal about how he thought that this offense was going to be inconsistent, I think is the word he used. I think. Don't exactly quote me on that. Look up the quote yourself. But I'm pretty sure the word was inconsistent. And I guess, you look over the last 2 weeks. I guess you could call that inconsistent. I would call it bad with two outliers. But I guess you could call it inconsistent if you really wanted to. I wouldn't. But you could. And that's just what this game was. I mean, if we want to get into specifics, Mark Canha, poor game yet again. I believe he goes 0 for 4. Yeah, his OPS is now down to 700. He has been absolutely dreadful at the plate since like the beginning of May. It's not like a small sample size. And Chris Brown of Motor City Metrics tweeted out his stats since early May, and they are mind-boggling. Like they're Torkelson got sent down for similar, if not better, stats than what Mark Canha's done in the last month and a half, approaching 2 months. And he almost has to hit in the top 4 in this lineup because you know that you're at least going to get a count that's worked. You're at least going to get pitches thrown. Again, it's just a testament to this lineup. Justyn-Henry Malloy continues to struggle. Got a heavy dose of curveballs. You look at the amount of curveballs that were thrown by Turnbull in this game specifically. I'm pretty sure the only ones he threw, or close to the only ones he threw at least consistently, were to Malloy. That's clearly something he needs to work on. But he also swung and missed, and eventually struck out on pitches that were fastballs in the strike zone too. He just has a swing and miss issue, and that's something that we knew when he was in the minors. He's hitting 148 with a 550 OPS. And I know I talked about like him hitting the ball hard and whatnot the other day. That doesn't matter if you're hitting 150, man. He's striking out and swinging, missing. I'm just fumbling over my words today. I apologize. He's striking out and swinging and missing far too often. Some more adjustments need to be made. That's why he's up here, because he was crushing AAA pitching, and we talk about it all the time. The difference between AAA pitching and Major League pitching is the biggest it's ever been in the history of this sport, and that is why he's getting a lot of ABs every day, because you kind of just have to throw him into the fire and see if he can make those adjustments. Wincio Perez, 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts, one of them ridiculous. We'll talk about that at the end of the show. Not a great day. Akil Baddoo goes 0 for 3 with 2 strikeouts. He's now hitting 122 with a 601 OPS. Like, this lineup is just not very good, top to bottom. And I know I called out, what was that, Canha, Malloy, Perez, Baddoo. I called out 4 players individually there. The biggest area of concern for me, I think, is Mark Canha, but like, I guess you could argue Wincio Perez is definitely the least worrisome of those 4. The other 3 all have arguments for like, what are their future with the team if this continues? Right? Canha's on a 1-year deal. If that would be trade or DFA later in the season, you're not going to do it anytime soon. And then Malloy and Baddoo would be getting sent back to Toledo. So would Wincio Perez if you want to lump him in there. But like, that's the state of the lineup. That's not a conversation that's only subjected to those 4 individuals. Your 2-hitter has a 618 OPS. It's just what the lineup is. And as I say all the time, the saddest part about it is there is absolutely nothing you can do today to make it any better. Okay. let's keep talking. I do want to talk pitching. I think the Keider Montero conversation is pretty fascinating. He had a really interesting start. We will talk about all of that and much more right after this. Going to talk to y'all today about our friends over at Tax Network USA. Here on Locked On Tigers, we pride ourselves on getting you the latest news for your team, whether it's the offseason, the draft, spring training, or the playoffs. It's year round. You know what else is year round? Collection season. Just because tax season is over doesn't mean the IRS will stop coming after your unfiled taxes. The IRS can garnish your wages, levy your bank accounts, and even seize your property. Don't let the IRS target you. Let the licensed professionals and tax experts at Tax Network USA go to bat for you. With over 14 years of experience and an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau, Tax Network USA has saved their clients over $1 billion in tax debt. Whether you owe taxes, have complicated matters that require tax planning, or finally hit that parlay this season and need help correctly filing, call 1-800-549-1000 or visit tnusa.com/locked on. See the link in the episode description below. Also got to talk to y'all about our friends over at eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience is the formula for winning championships and also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need and all the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. So keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit is only available to U.S. customers. All right, everybody, welcome back here. Segment 2 of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always, making us your first listen every single day. Shout out to the everydayers that do tune in every day. We will be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 against the Angels and looking ahead a little bit as well. July is going to be a busy one, so we'll kind of have that conversation heading into the weekend too. Also, be sure to check out Locked On Sports Today, the free 24/7 sports streaming channel, program for your everyday needs to bring you the biggest stories without all the screaming maybe that Fox Sports or ESPN gives you on a daily basis. So check it out for free on the Amazon Fire TV channels app or on YouTube. Okay, talking about what went wrong in this 6-2 loss. I said wrong really aggressively there. Okay, let's calm down. Let's take a breather. Talking about what went wrong in this ball game, this 6-2 loss. Again, I'm not too worked up over this game in a vacuum, in a nutshell. But I think there's obviously frustrations that are boiling over for, looking at the big picture aspect and outlook of this baseball team right now. And the lineup is the very glaring issue really over the last, you name it, but especially, from last year to this year, there was a hope that it was going to take another step forward, and it absolutely has not. The pitching in this ball game did not do the offense very many favors, though, for whatever that is worth to you, which to me is just about nothing because the offense has not been earned the benefit of the doubt, I don't think. But Tyler Holton and Keider Montero both give up, I think all 6 runs between the two of them. Tyler Holton got off to a really rough start. I think he only had 1 earned run, actually, to his name. Had bases loaded, no outs in the first inning, tight-roped his way out of danger and only gave up the 1 run. And then he got pulled in the second inning, and Will Vest came in with 2 runners on and didn't allow either of them to score. So somehow, some way, Tyler Holton leaves with only 1 run to his name, but his command was brutal in this ball game. And I don't know if that's just he's not used to starting. I mean, obviously it was known that he was the opener. He wasn't going to be a true starter, so I'm not sure how relevant that point really is. But I think really it's just he got ambushed by one of the best lineups in baseball. The Phillies were swinging first pitch almost every time against Tyler Holton, and they were absolutely crushing him. And I want to take that inning, put it on a VHS tape, and send it to the Detroit Tigers headquarters. You're allowed to swing at the first pitch. I know it's crazy. I know. I know it seems like, things that seem illegal but aren't. Maybe you think that swinging first pitch is illegal. I'm here to tell you it's not. I am. And I'm here to tell you that it's actually looked at favorably by some people if the matchup calls for it. And this team just refuses to do it. It drives me absolutely nuts. And one of the best lineups in baseball absolutely ambushed Tyler Holton and did that consistently. We're swinging first pitch almost every single AB, and we're crushing him. It's possible. Goodness. So that didn't go super well. But again, left with only one run to his name. Then Will Vest comes in, closes the door, keeps it a 1-1 ball game. Good for Will Vest. Then Keider Montero comes in, 4 1/3, 5 hits, 5 earned runs, 3 walks, and 6 strikeouts. The home run given up as well. His ERA is now 9.35 in 2 outings at the major league level. This was really an eye-opening outing for me in terms of what I am seeing from Montero. I think the stuff is really good, and I'm not trying to polish a what here. Like I understand that he's still on the side of things that went wrong in this ball game, right? He gave up 5 runs. I'm not trying to sell you that this was a really good outing because it wasn't. But you see the MLB potential at the same time. I think the stuff is really good. He had 19 whiffs. If Casey Mize consistently, like 2 starts in a row even, had 19 whiffs, I might cry on air, right? Like he had 19 whiffs in 4 1/3. He had almost 20 swings and misses. That is a phenomenal number. It's a testament to the stuff that he does have. 6 strikeouts in about 4 innings, 4 1/3, right, is solid. The slider is really good. Trey Turner specifically was getting absolutely bullied by that slider low and away from Montero. But the command in this game was absolutely brutal. And that's been a theme in both of his starts, quote unquote, at the major league level. When he's hitting his spots, you see it. Again, I point to the Trey Turner ABs there, but he was all over the place. Truly all over the place, in the zone, out of the zone. He could not consistently hit a spot for anything. And I really like the slider. That fastball got up to 97, borderline 98. His changeup moved a ton, right? Like you see the raw talent and you see the raw ability there. He's only 23 years old, right? There's still a very, very long road and long career ahead for this kid. But if he doesn't take that step in development, then it won't matter, right? Like that's a huge step. I'm not just saying, oh, he'll just be good, right? Like look at Alex Lang. Alex Lang was a starter. Alex Lang was a starting pitcher when we traded for him. And now he's a reliever that got demoted midseason because he couldn't throw strikes. Like, I'm not saying it's easy peasy and it's guaranteed to happen. Certainly not. Even our pitching staff hasn't been able to help everybody in that. Pitching coaching staff, that is, hasn't been able to help everybody in that regard. But you do see if he can even be an average command type of pitcher, there is a career for this dude, because the stuff was really darn good. It was just like he didn't even have any called strikes in this game, right? All of the strikes he had were whiffs because nothing was really consistently in the strike zone. So something he needs to work on a lot. I would imagine that he will get sent down as well when Alex Faedo is healthy again. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end. Let's talk about what went right, because there's really only, I think, one thing that really stands out as one player that really went super right in this one. Then we'll talk stuff. Okay, we'll do all of that right after this. Got to talk to y'all today about our new friends over at Booking.com. With hotels, bed and breakfast, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more on Booking.com, you might just find your perfect stay, even in your baseball rival's city. You want to take a trip over to Cleveland? I know we don't like the Guardians here. However, if you are to go, you can find a great place to stay and have a fantastic time using Booking.com. From hotels that overlook stadiums to family-friendly resorts, Booking.com has so many choices across the U.S. for your summer travel this MLB season. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your rivals. So book today on Booking.com, on the site, or in the Booking.com app. Booking.com, Booking.yeah. Also got to talk to y'all about our friends over at LinkedIn. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a tool that a lot of people are using more and more, and businesses as well, because business-to-business selling is tougher than ever before. And that's why I want to tell you about LinkedIn Sales Navigator. LinkedIn Sales Navigator is a sales intelligence platform that helps professionals effectively prospect and engage high-value customers, drive higher revenues, and increase sales performance. Sales Navigator helps you target the right buyers, surface key signals such as job changes or which accounts you should prioritize, and show you hidden allies so you can find those buyers that are most likely to convert. Fueled by LinkedIn's 1 billion member platform, Sales Navigator gives you the most up-to-date first-party data, enabling you to unlock conversations with the people that matter. So right now, you can try LinkedIn Sales Navigator and get a 60-day, that's 60, free trial at linkedin.com/locked-on. That's linkedin.com/locked-on for a 60-day free trial. Let LinkedIn Sales Navigator help you sell like a superstar today. Just go to linkedin.com/locked-on and get started. All right, everybody, welcome back. Your third and final segment of Locked On Tigers. Appreciate you all for tuning in as always. Talking about what went right in this ball game. Honestly, I think the only player to really talk about is Matt Vierling. Had a pretty darn good day at the office. Hit a solo home run to start off the ball game off of Spencer Turnbull. He's had a really weird June, though. He had another double that he laced into the gap on the pull side as well, that left center field gap. He's just had such a weird June. His stats on the season are a 254 average and a 737 OPS. That's above league average hitter, and he, I think, already has a career high in homers. If not, he's like tied with it. He already is like he's going to shatter his career high home run marks. Like that's good. But the thing is, his profile in June specifically has been his average is terrible. Like he's hitting like 170 or something in the month of June going into this game. I don't know, maybe these two hits, it's a small enough sample size for those carry him over the edge there, but I don't think so. His average has been astronomically low in the month of June, but the hits that he has had have been big, powerful hits for damage. And so now we're in this weird spot with the adjustments that he's made, right? Where last year he was, I almost want to call him a slap ball hitter, where he would let the ball get super deep in the strike zone, almost being caught by the catcher, and then he would just smack it down the first baseline. And he had a decent batting average and got on base. I mean, he wasn't like an OBP guy. He wasn't walking a ton, but like that was how he was effective. And now this year, you have these adjustments that he's made, and you're getting a lot more power. Again, going to shatter his home run mark. But you're getting, at least in the month of June, again, he's hitting 254 on the season, but in the month of June, you're getting almost no ball in play type of results with Matt Vierling. So we have to find this happy medium, Matt. We got to find this, and I'm sure he's constantly making adjustments and whatnot, but we have to find this happy medium where this is not Adam Dunn that's only going to hit 20 homers, but at the same time, he has untapped the power a little bit more than he had the 2 years before this season, right? So that's, I think, the next step for his development. I've been very consistent with my opinion of Matt Vierling, and in the month of June, again, he's hitting like $170. So I want to see a lot more from him, and the reason why I have some people that ask me why I like harp on him more than a lot of other people. It's because he has all the tools to be a really, really good baseball player, all of them. And so I'm you can't say that about a ton of players on this baseball team. So that's why I kind of nitpick him maybe more than some other players. That's pretty much it, though. He had a great day, and that was kind of it. Like I said, Will Vest, I guess, came in. I thought his command was honestly pretty weak, but he blew fastballs by people, got outs. Good for you, Joey Wentz. I mean, gave up 3 hits in less than 2 innings. Like, wasn't a masterclass performance, but doesn't have a run to his name at least. Like that was pretty much it. Was Matt Vierling, and that was really the extent of the Detroit Tigers in this one. It sounds like Riley Green is okay. Thank goodness. Gregory Soto doing great. We'll transition into stuff now. Gregory Soto hitting Riley Green and then pitching a shutout inning was the most on-brand Gregory Soto in Comerica Park thing I've ever seen in my entire life. And that's the Gregory Soto I remember. That's yeah. Maybe like, another walk or two, but that's pretty much the Gregory Soto that I remember pitching at Comerica Park. Look, I mean, really my biggest takeaway from this series is just that the Phillies are really good. This is a really good lineup. We've talked a lot about that this series. A really good lineup, really good starting rotation, really good bullpen. But in this game, they did the little things right. And this whole series they did. They're so good at getting an extra 90 feet. You saw that in this ballgame. Winfield Perez came up slow, and a ball that should have been and was thought to be just a single ended up being a double. And then Brandon Marsh, who was like Barry Bonds in this game, I think he was responsible for 4 of the 6 RBIs by himself. Yeah, he went 4 for 4 with 4 ribbies. Have a day. He then he gets a big knock, and that's the extent of it, right? And then he scores 2 more runs, and the reason that they get 6 runs instead of 5 on this game is because of that aggressiveness to get that extra 90 feet, and that's just something the Tigers don't do, right? They don't try to get extra 90 feet. They don't. And defensively, I thought the Phillies were brilliant at preventing the trail runner from advancing. And that's something, if you're a longtime listener of this show, you know that I've, burst my bubble about quite often. Not as much this year. They've gotten a lot better, but the last 2 years, infuriating that the Tigers defense does that as consistently as they have. And this was a masterclass performance by the Phillies defense on, we're going to force you to go station to station and really truly beat us. And the Tigers can only do that for 1 game. Really good in sound defensive decisions, really good in sound just defense in general. Anytime Brandon Marsh is playing corner outfield, you have a crazy good defensive outfield behind you. And Bryce Harper's been solid at first base. It's a darn good team. And we learned that. It's just sad to say, like, I'm glad we didn't get swept. Like that's so demoralizing to even say out loud. But like, that's kind of where I think a lot of people, myself included, are at with this team. Spencer Turnbull's return kind of soured by the injury. Unfortunately, hope he's okay. Never want anybody to get hurt ever. I think Vierling ambushing him and getting a home run in the first AB kind of put a smile to my face. That being said, but yeah, we'll obviously rooting for his health. I wanted him to pitch a full outing because I think that would have been better. Even if that was the only run he gave up and he shoved against us, that would have shoved against us. That would have been a way cooler storyline than, pitching 3 or 4 innings and leaving because of, it looks like he pointed to his back, but that's speculation. I'm not sure. So hopefully he's okay. I thought the umpire in this game was weird. Like the strike zone I thought was super tight, really it was a very small zone. At one point, it looked like a can of beans was pretty much the entire strike zone there. Really got pinched a lot, especially early, which was very frustrating because it was still actually kind of a close game. And you're forcing balls over the heart of the plate a little bit more when that happens. So that was kind of frustrating. And then the Winfield Perez thing is one of the most ridiculous atrocities I've ever seen on a baseball field. And that's obviously way overly dramatic, but my goodness, that's just so absurd. Like, it wasn't like Winfield Perez was out of the batter's box, right? Like, he was in, his feet were set, He was just looking down to tap home plate or like twirl his bat or whatever to get ready for the pitch. That is an absolute joke. And it led to a strikeout. That is criminal. It's absurd. It's stupid. Major League Baseball has to make sure that crap like that does not happen going forward with the pitch clock, because that is laughably ridiculous. What didn't like determine the game? I'm not like red in the face about it, but it was really, really stupid and needs to be fixed. I think the only other thing I really got is Alex Fido is set to return soon. That means that I would imagine Keider Montero is going to be demoted back to AAA when Fido is ready to return. Although I will say that Montero being a reliever isn't something I hate. I don't really mind him getting opportunity as a reliever, like really good stuff, kind of shaky command. That's kind of a major league reliever profile to an extent. So I wouldn't mind him getting an opportunity out of the pen at some point, but I would imagine that they're going to go back with Fido when he's healthy again. Okay. You kick off a 4-game set against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Are they still of Anaheim? Is that still something you say with the Angels? I don't know. They are bad. And look, you're only, I think, 4 games, 3.5 games better than the Angels at this point. But this is not a good baseball team. Davis Daniel getting the start today. He's going up against Jack Flaherty. Then you have on Friday, Kenta Maeda against 2024 Zach Plesac, who has an 8.5 ERA. Then on Saturday, you have Reese Olson against Griffin Canning, who has been a letdown, really, I mean, most of his Angels tenure. And then on Sunday, you have Casey Mize against Tyler Anderson, who has been a huge bright spot for the Angels. He has a 2.63 ERA and has one of the best WAR numbers in Major League Baseball so far out of starting pitchers. So he's been a huge bright spot. Sunday's game will be a close one. We can talk about that a little bit more on tomorrow's show. But tonight, 9:38 p.m. start time. So you're not going to get it right at midnight if you are a midnight listener. But 1, 2 in the morning, whenever the heck I'm done editing and uploading and doing everything I got to do, post-production and pre-production here. This is a game you absolutely should win. If you're even remotely serious, you have to take 3 of 4 in this series. I'm not really convinced that they are super serious. So we'll see. Flaherty on the bump has led to a lot of wins lately. And you're going up again against Davis Daniel, who I don't think has pitched in the majors this season. Yeah, this will be his season debut. So we'll see. But the Angels are not good. This is a bad baseball team. Mike Trout's hurt. Obviously, the Ohtani saga this offseason, he left. This is a not like, oh, they're just like kind of around 500. They're one of those teams. No, this team is bad. This is not a good baseball team. So we'll see what the Tigers do against not a good baseball team. Thanks for making Locked On Tigers your first listen every single day, free and available wherever you get your podcast. We'll be back tomorrow recapping Game 1 and talking about anything else surrounding the Tigers organization. All right, peace and love. Going to therapy's dope. I'll catch y'all then, baby. Go Tigers.